Secretary, you've clarified that there is a very different position on new oil and gas between both governments. In recent weeks, you'll be aware that there's been some criticism that the Scottish Government's position has become less clear in recent times, not answering in a direct way about, Government's position on Rosebank, for example, which is quite different from the position taken on Campbell. So a few days ago, the First Minister was urged to get off the fence. Not my words, but more than 100 high-profile people from the world of arts, entertainment, performers at the Fringe and members of the public asked this government to voice opposition to Rosebank, the new oil fields. I just wondered, why is the government not able to give a straight yes or no answer on that? Why is there a perception that you and your colleagues are on the fence, and do you want to get off the fence today?
Obviously, decisions around new oil and gas licensing is for the UK government. Yep. And so making sure that where there is an interest for that type of step change that is targeted at where these decisions are getting taken, I would suggest is going to be the most effective form of campaigning. But for us, we've been very clear, as I've set out, I think, to this committee the last time I came, as well as I think just about wherever I have had media at an event over the summer, that in terms of new oil and gas licensing, it's a decision for the UK government. However, we want to see much more transparent and stringent climate compatibility checkpoints. We're not opposed to any new oil and gas, but feel that it has to be passing much more stringent climate compatibility checkpoints. We will make our position regarding the energy strategy and just transition plan clear in response to the consultations responses as quickly as we can. Obviously the language is clear in there in terms of what we are currently expecting the UK government to do on new oil and gas, and that will be clarified in response to the consultation responses in due course. But as I say, look, we've got a responsibility right now to play our part in responding to the climate emergency. We've also got to make sure that we are having a just transition. Making sure that we are taking those workers that are currently involved in oil and gas with us, because a proposition of shutting down the North Sea prematurely does not achieve a just transition. We'll see workers lost, we'll see skills lost, we'll see investment lost. It will make it much more difficult for us to be able to reach our net zero targets and to achieve the huge renewable energy potential that we have without that investment, without those skills and workers. So we must be very careful about ensuring that we take our climate responsibilities seriously, but that we don't lose those skills, people, investment that the industry currently comes with.
Mm-hmm. Before I hand back, convener, I think everyone wants a just transition. I think everyone wants to protect jobs and create good jobs. So I don't think anyone's against a just transition, but just trying to understand where something like Rosebank, which is massive in scale, where that would fit in with a just transition. Just to ask again about the Scottish Government's position, because I fully understand the decision will sit with ministers in London. But is the Scottish Government neutral on Rosebank? Do you have a view one way or the other? Or is government here happy to sit and let others go through that compatibility checkpoint and make the decision? I just wondered if in private you're having discussions that you actually are not in favour of Rosebank, because I think people would like to know. No,
we are not passive observers here. We've made very clear that for new oil and gas, we want to see much more transparent and stringent climate compatibility checks, regardless of the application or which application we're speaking about. We want to engage with the UK government on that and to see that forthcoming, because it is their decision. We do obviously attempt to engage on that basis to ensure that we are able to see that just transition evidenced, and will continue to make that case, as will elements of the industry as well. They are wanting to see a much clearer, more transparent process as well, and we'll continue to work to try to achieve that with the UK Government.
Okay. I think we're still on the fence, but I'll hand back to the convener.
Well, I'm totally confused. Can we have a yes or no? Do you support Rosebank or do you not?
I've made very clear that on new oil and gas, we want to see much more stringent climate compatibility checkpoints, regardless of the application that we're talking about. We have to, and I think I've made it very clear that we have to be very careful in terms of picking one application or another without having the strategy set out, without having the strategy right, whether it's for us or for the UK Government, that we know we're going to rely on the oil and gas industry for some time to come. A premature closure of it sees the jobs put at risk, sees the investment potential and the knowledge and experience go with it. So we know that that is going to be of critical importance, and we also must make sure that we're taking our responsibilities to the climate and the current climate emergency seriously, which is why we must see a much faster just transition. We're working with the industry to try to push them as fast as we can on the investments that they make to ensure that they are supporting new renewable energy generation, that they are supporting the skills transition as well. And we're also looking to push the UK Government to ensure that they are taking much more transparent and stringent climate compatibility checkpoints.
Okay, so I think I read into that yes, no, maybe, not sure. But I mean, I'm sorry,
no, I think it has to be.
Mark wants to come in. I'm going to let